The Wedding Favor, Part 13. The rest of Ella's week is thankfully devoid of stressful situations. Work is a bit uncomfortable, even though nothing happens. It's mostly Ella being anxious about nothing, as is her usual. Her mother doesn't contact her to whine about Paul or her dress or her hair. Damien doesn't show up unannounced at her door. He only shows up in her inbox to set up the actual dates, and that's an entirely different kind of ball game. Ella has real dates lined up with Damien, and she's getting excited about them. Damien has been mostly business with her while setting up the dates, but occasionally he asks how she's doing, or if Arthur was annoying today. If that was her green car he saw parked at a random place, he sent a picture. It wasn't her, but it was another Shelby in a different green, with an owner who did not take care of it properly. Damien just sent commiserating gifs when Ella started whining about the mistreatment of the beautiful car. The texting helps with her anxiety about taking him as a fake date to the wedding. She can't pretend to be a couple with the stiff and angry guy Damien seemed to be at first. But this nice guy who sends funny gifts and says silly things, that's someone Ella can love. Pretend to love. Not actually love God. She only met him a couple of days ago. Get a grip on yourself. Ella. The loneliness is getting to her. It's making her latch on to anyone who shows her a shred of kindness. She's really missing the jovial atmosphere at work now that Arthur avoids her like the plague. Kaylee has been doing overtime at her job, so she's not around to chat with either. It has just been Ella working and tinkering with her car. And Damien has been texting her a few times a day. Every time Damien sends something to Ella, her stomach does a little flip. She hasn't seen him since he dropped her off 3 days ago, and the anticipation of seeing him again is starting to make her antsy. She's changed her clothes 3 times already in the last 2 hours. What do you wear to a spa? Haircut, dress-fitting combo. Ella has never done most of those things, and she only likes haircuts from one particular place near her job that has no dress code. Ella's guessing Damien's places do have some kind of dress code, and one that she has no idea of. The anxiety has been making her stress clean her apartment. Everything is spotless, except for her couch. She can't go near it as long as that monstrosity is still on it. Ella knows she should probably get it stored properly, but she can't get herself to look at it half the time, let alone touch it. She's hyping herself up to move it right now. There's not much else to do in the 20 minutes she has left before Damien will pick her up. She's ready to go to the spa, unless she shouldn't be wearing comfy jeans. Should she change to something prettier or something more girly? Ella glares at the Chanel dress as if it is the source of all her problems. Who knows? Maybe it is. The glaring continues until she's interrupted by a knock on her door. Who knocks on her door at 8 in the morning on a Saturday? Kaylee's still asleep from her late shift, and no other neighbor tends to bother her. There must be something wrong for them to try her door. Nothing is wrong. It's just Damien. Ella's heart skips a beat. She almost forgets to open the door for him. She's too busy staring at him through the peephole. Great start to a date, Ella. Her face is beet red when she lets Damien in. Damien doesn't comment on her flustered appearance. He simply greets Ella and leans in to kiss her on the cheek. That's how you start a date. You actually say hello. Damien smirks at Ella when she belatedly returns his greeting and invites him in. He's completely out of place in her small apartment. He's tall and dressed to the nines, even if he's wearing jeans and a shirt, just like Ella is. There's just something about his clothes and bearing that makes him look dressed up. It must be the impeccable hair swept to one side, and his flawless skin, and his perfect ass. Ella tells herself to stop ogling him. Why did you come up here? You could have just texted and I would have been down in a minute. Damien stuffs his hands in his pockets and glances around Ella's apartment. She suddenly appreciates her cleaning frenzy of the last few days. I'm early. I wasn't sure you were ready yet. Besides, I wanted to see your place. Why? He shrugs. People might ask questions, but mostly because I was interested in how your place looks. He notices the monstrosity on the couch, and he frowns down at it. Why is there a Chanel thrown over the back of your sofa? Gods, even his speech makes Ella's place feel dingy. Sofa, he's so British. My mother gave it to me. Wait, how did you know it was Chanel? My mother, Damien grins at her. She's a designer. I grew up surrounded by fashion. You pick up a few things by osmosis. He goes over to the dress and picks it up. For example, you should keep this in the dress bag on a hanger in your closet to protect it. He glances at Ella and frowns. Even if this looks like something you'd never wear, did you choose this? Ella shakes her head but can't speak. There's a lump in her throat. How can this guy who's known her for about 5 seconds know her taste better than her own mother? Either he cares more than her mom, which is weird, or her mother doesn't care about her, which is plain wrong. Damien must be weird. The lump in her throat lessens at that realization, and she can answer Damien's question about what she plans to do with the dress. I need to bring it to the wedding, but I'm probably not going to wear it. Ever. Why do you need to bring it? My mother told me to. Damien stops arranging the dress on the hanger to stare at her with his heavy gaze. Ella had forgotten about the way his stare could weigh on her. It's making her fidget with embarrassment in her own living room. It is unacceptable. Can we leave? Did you see everything you wanted to see? His heavy gaze disappears behind a blank mask, until the corner of his mouth quirks up. Well, I was hoping to see your bed. His smirk grows. Room. He holds up the dress. You do need to store this upright or you'll get creases. I bet your mother will be annoyed if you ruin the dress she bought. Even just thinking about the possibility makes Ella groan. Her mother would take it as a personal slight. She motions at Damien to follow her to her room, already thinking about where to put it. She'll have to move one of her winter coats to the top of her dresser. She should have done that earlier, but there's always a chance of a late freeze. At least that's the excuse Ella tells herself, and that it's always a hassle to get the heavy coats up there. Her room is not big enough for her queen-size bed and her dresser. There's barely enough room between the bed and closet for her to open the closet doors with some creative maneuvering. There is no room for Damien, so he lingers near the end of the bed, closes to the closet, ready to hand her the dress suit. Please hold it for a moment. I need to. Ella doesn't bother finishing her sentence. She takes her least favorite coat, she really should have gotten rid of it years ago, and steps on to the edge of her bed to reach the top of her dresser. She can just about reach the edge of the closet, but it's a precarious stretch. Her shirt is too short after too many laundry days, and it rides up when she reaches to push the coat over the edge. Wait a minute, she's wearing low-rising jeans. Is her underwear showing? Did she put on the comfy pair with holes near the edge, or the neat but uncomfortable ones? Ella glances down to check. The maroon edge of her panties is showing, but at least they're one of the intact ones. One glance is all Ella gets before she loses her balance. She drops the coat, ready to cartwheel around to not fall on her face when two strong hands grip her hips and pull her backwards. Right into a solid wall of chest. Adrenaline flushes Ella's system. Her breaths come in short bursts. Her heart is beating in her throat. Her hands clutch at Damien's. She's intensely aware of the heat coming off of him and soaking into her back. His breathing is loud against her ear, and his grip doesn't ease off. Ella is stuck in the sensations until her breathing quiets down and she realizes the position she's actually in. Kneeling on her bed with Damien pulling her flush against him, breathing in her hair. She pats his hand and clears her throat. He lets go of her as if she's on fire. Right. He takes a step back, smoothing his rumpled shirt. You gave me a heart attack. What were you trying to do? Damien doesn't look at her. Instead, he's staring at the coat she dropped on the floor while... Is that a blush? His cheeks are totally pinking. He's actually blushing. The realization sends pleasant tingles up and down her stomach, and Ella delights in the sensation while she explains where the coat goes. Damien doesn't have to do any gymnastics to get the coat up. He just stands on the floor and he's able to reach the top of the closet without a problem. His shirt doesn't show an expanse of skin when he does it either. If Ella is disappointed at that, there's no need to let Damien know. Besides, she'll be able to see his bare skin soon enough when they hit the spa.